So we have our wonderful patient here. She had previous BBL already, but she's looking for some improvement, some kind of touch-ups, and maybe getting a little bit more hips, a little bit more projection on her buttocks, right? Mm-hmm. She's a great healthy patient. So the front of her stomach, she did have 3 or 4 kids. Four kids, and she got a little bit of a stretching out. She's not looking for a tummy tuck or anything, and the fat was already taken out from here. So this is pretty thin here. She has a little bit of a belly button hernia that will need to be fixed probably at some time, but not at this point. She did great with the suction of her anterior stomach. Again, that was done before. She's looking to improve her waistline right here. So there's some fat deposits on both of your sides, and if you turn around, please, you will see here. So there's a kind of where a lot of people deposit fat, kind of your flanks, waist area, and upper brow rolls, so we're gonna work on those. And sometimes people get a crease in there that goes very deep, kind of attaches to your ribs. So we're gonna work on the brow rolls here, and some people develop a deep crease here that's unsightly. People don't like it, so when I do my liposuction of the brow rolls, I try to break down that crease with my suction cannula as much as I can. And good BBL is not so much about augmenting the buttocks, it's also about carving out those buttocks from the lower back. So to improve this transition, to get a sharper transition, to create that pop, we will have to suction this area. You good with this plan?
Yes.
So we'll work on this, on that. Right in there, we'll suction this. That's where we're planning to transfer that fat.
Okay.
Good plan?
Yeah. Is oxygen and nitrous oxide. It is a self-administered patient analgesic. Kind of just lets the patient control how much that they need. They just take a few deep breaths and they start to feel more relaxed and able to tolerate the pain better.
We injected a little bit of a numbing medicine there with a tiny little needle, 33 gauge needle.
Yeah,
it's
you're doing great.
Really fine needle, and we infiltrate the skin.
You are.
And then we're making a pokes using the special punch tool.
With you the whole time.
Just little pokes. They're about 2 millimeters wide, and when they heal, heals like a little dot. So it doesn't leave a linear scar or anything like that. We injected the right amount of fluid. It's the turgor of the skin, how tight it gets. And it gets also a little pale from that epinephrine that's in the tumescent solution. So it shrinks the vasculature, shrinks the vessels. It allows us to harvest the fat with very minimal blood loss. And it also contains lidocaine that numbs up the area.
Breast Aug by Dr. M, Miami, summer. I'm all set. all set. Hey, you finna see you on the beach. Nothing on.
Dr. M.
Dr. M.
Dr. what's his name?
Dr. Markelov.
If you remember, that's good.
Well, yeah, it's right here. Body by Dr. M. We're gonna start calling us Dr. M dolls. We need like a name.
So we're finishing up the right side. I'm using a curved cannula to hug your waistline. I'll show you immediate results. So we haven't put any fat in the buttocks yet, but the buttock already looks more defined. It looks like it's popping out more because there's a better distinction between the lower back. We are done suctioning on this side. Again, we haven't put anything in the buttock yet, so no volume was added to the right buttock, but it already looks fuller. It looks like it's popping. There's a better definition. So we remove this extra fullness from the flank waist area. We shortened that buttock a little bit, so the transition between the lower back and the buttock is much better. It's much more defined. In this case, we have a 2-liter canister, so it's almost filled up. There's a little floater that goes up and kind of blocks the suction. 2 liters, and you can see the fat separated into 2 layers. First layer is there's a little bit of oil, but mostly fat cells that float up top, and there's a layer of fluid. It's a tumescent fluid, that lidocaine, epinephrine, numbing solution, plus a little bit of blood. So we are done with our liposuction process. Beautiful waist. We highlighted that waist. We improved the definition of the buttocks. We improved the transition between the lower back and the buttocks. And the next step would be actual buttock augmentation. So we're going to process the fat. Again, it's minimally processed. We're going to use antibiotic in the fat, and we're going to dump that extra fluid, tumescent solution, and then the rest of the fat will be utilized, will be used for buttock augmentation. And we're going to use an ultrasound to make it all safe. We primed our pump, so we're ready. You can see the connection. So the fat stayed in the bucket, it didn't touch anything outside. Now it's going to go back into the patient using this power-assisted tool. Larger flared cannula, curved to stay away from the muscle. So when I press the pedal, that's a beautiful buttock anatomy right there. You can see it very nicely. So I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit. Superficial subcutaneous layer, and there's a connective tissue layer called scarpous fascia. And so we don't want to place the fat right in there. That space is really too tight for fat. It gets tight. And if it all stays in there, the buttock will look pancakey and will look flat after the infiltration in that layer. There's a deeper subcutaneous layer, deeper fat layer. That's where we want the fat to be. That's what's going to create that pop. That fat is going to distribute evenly, and it's going to look nice and projected. And then deeper, right in there, this more dense layer, darker layer, that's the muscle. We want to stay away from the muscle. So we don't want to be too superficial. We don't want to be too deep in the muscle, because we risk that fat embolism, where the fat is accidentally migrated or it gets injected into the large vessels, causing the blockage of the vessels with fat. That's very dangerous. We want to stay right in between, that happy medium zone, deeper subcutaneous layer. That's where we're going to inject that fat. The fat comes out. We're going to again utilize the ultrasound guidance to see exactly where that fat is going. So you can see the cannula right here. Renee, can you support this for a second? Let's support, like hold this. So I'm going to wiggle the cannula, and you can see, you can't directly see the cannula, but you can see it's in that layer that we were going for. That little white shadow on the bottom of the screen right there. It's moving. That's a cross section of the cannula. And right in here. This is the ultrasound cannula. This is the cannula for infiltration of the fat. Again, this is exactly where the cannula is. So it's not in the superficial layer, it's not in the muscle, it's above the muscle. I infiltrate the fat as I pull out, so it's a retrograde technique, so and direct visualization, so I know exactly where the fat is going. It's not going into the muscle, it's not going into the immediate subcutaneous layer. It goes slightly deeper to create that nice, beautiful projection. And you can see it on the screen, like this is where my cannula is. You see that little kind of wiggling right in there. So this is a cross section of the cannula. She's doing great. She's actually asking to put on her favorite song, so that's her main concern now, not so much the pain during the procedure, because she's not feeling much. We numbed her up using the same tumescent solution in there. And while I was doing the liposuction part, the buttocks kept getting numb with the tumescent solution. So right now she's very comfortable. tell me how much I put in, usually in 50 cc's increments. So 50, 100, 150. This way I can keep track how much already went in. You might need new jeans.
Yeah, I hope I do.
This is gonna be a big difference. 600 cc's difference to be exact.
Yeah. 600?
600.
Wait, what happened?
Well, the doctor must be good.
You're awesome.
200.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Can you tell me what's up?
I feel good. Yes.
Done with both buttocks, 700 milliliters of fat transfer on both sides, great result. So I want to show you what the fat graft looks like on the ultrasound. So this is that superficial subcutaneous layer that's too tight. I was talking about it, that if you place fat just in there, if you try to stay too superficial, then it creates the flat and very pancakey looking buttock. So we did place the fat in that happy medium layer, deeper subcutaneous layer between the muscle and that superficial layer. So this is our fat graft. You can see those little bubbles. Those are little lobules of fat that you can see on the ultrasound right in here. So there's little lobules. That's where our fat graft went. That's going to create nice, good result with the round appearance of the buttock.